Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about the problem how to convert context-free grammar into CNF, that is Chomsky normal form. This concept and all I have already discussed, and this video is available in my playlist. You people can refer to the whole concept. As usual, I'm going to give a solution as this problem is given in the model question paper. So what is Chomsky normal form? If your production rule are of this form, A derives BC, where B and C are variables, that's why it is written in caps, or A derives A. So on the right hand side, you can have two continuous variable or a single terminal. If all the production rules are of this form, then the grammar is said to be in Chomsky normal form. Okay, how do you convert the context-free grammar into CNF? There is a systematic procedure. You have to follow the procedure in the same order. First, we have to simplify the grammar. To simplify the grammar, there are three steps. You need to eliminate epsilon rules first, followed by unit production rules, and followed by unproductive and unreachable symbols. Once all these three steps are done in the same order, now the grammar is simplified and it is ready for conversion into CNF. Okay, so I have written the problem, whatever is given in the question paper here. Now I'm going to do the very first step, which is elimination of epsilon or null production rules. So to do so, first I have to find the nullable variable set. Finding nullable variable set. What is nullable variable set? A variable which directly or indirectly derives epsilon, all are called nullable variables. So come to the grammar. Here the variable C directly derives epsilon. So let me include C here. Since B derives C and C derives epsilon, B is also a nullable variable. B is not directly deriving epsilon, B indirectly derives epsilon. So let me include B also here. A derives B. B derives C and C derives epsilon. By the way, A becomes nullable variable. What about S? We know that A and C are nullable variable. If you replace A and C by epsilon, it ends up in AA. I mean, S is not producing epsilon even indirectly. So S is not a nullable variable. Only A, B, C are nullable variables. Now what is the next step? After finding the nullable variables, I have to rewrite the grammar. So how do I rewrite the grammar? While rewriting the grammar, I have to replace every time the nullable variable by epsilon. One nullable variable at a time or two nullable variables. I mean, it depends upon the number of nullable variable present in the production rule. Okay, now let me consider the very first rule, S derives AACA. So first I will write the rule as it is. A. So firstly I have written the rule as it is. AACA. C is a nullable variable. So I replace C by epsilon. So we obtained AAA. At the next chance I replaced A by epsilon. So I obtained ACA. Then later I replaced both A and C by epsilon. So I obtained the root AA. Now let us move on to the next production rule, which is A derives BA. So let me write the rule as it is. A derives B or A. Even though B is a nullable variable, don't try to replace it by epsilon. If you replace it by epsilon, you are producing epsilon rule in the grammar. Now move on to the third rule. B derives C or C. Here also nothing to do with the rule. Just retain the rule as it is. Move on to the fourth rule. C derives C or epsilon. So we are just doing all these things just to eliminate epsilon, right? So C derives CC. First you consider as it is. We know that the C is a nullable variable. So if you replace the C by epsilon, we will obtain C. Now you can skip this epsilon rule, which is a part of the production rule. So that's all. We have rewritten the grammar. So this is a new grammar. What you obtained from this grammar, you need to eliminate the unit rules. So we have eliminated the epsilon rules. Now let us move on to the second step. So here I have written the step 2. Now I'm going to eliminate the unit rules. What are the unit rules first of all? If a variable on the left hand side derives a single variable on the right hand side, then such rules need to be eliminated. So in the given grammar, A derives B is a unit rule, B derives C is a unit rule. These rules ought to be eliminated. So simply I will solve it. While eliminating the unit rules, I need to rewrite the grammar from the last production rule so that it will allow me not to skip any of the rules. So what is the last rule given here? Let me write it. C derives C, C, R, C. So this rule does not contain any unit rule. So just consider the rule as it is here. Now move on to this rule. B derives C. This is a unit variable, right? B derives, in place of C, just replace the production rules of this C. C, C, R, C. So writing the C one time is enough. No need to repeat it. Okay, now you move on to the previous rule. A derives B is a unit production rule. So A derives, in place of B, you replace with this. C, C, R, C and include this A as it is. Now what is the rule for S? S does not contain any unit variable on the right hand side. So you just accept or write or consider the S rule as it is. A, C, A. So this is the final grammar after eliminating the unit rules. When you are eliminating the unit rules, what you need to remember is you need to build the grammar from the last production rule. Okay. Now we move on to the third step. This is step 3. We move on to the step 3 now. What is the step 3? Step 3 once again contains 2 steps. First, you need to eliminate the unproductive rules. Secondly, you need to eliminate the unreachable symbols. What is unproductive symbols? Unproductive symbols are nothing but useless symbols, the symbols which you will not use at all in the grammar. So how to identify the unproductive symbols? It's a very simple thing. All the terminals are productive symbols, and if a variable derives a sequence of productive symbol, then that variable also to be considered as a productive. So to do this step, first you are going to find the productive symbol set. Productive symbols set we are going to identify. Okay. We have to build this step from the previous step. I mean, after eliminating the unit rules, you got the grammar right. From that step, you have to do this step. So what are all the terminals present here? Terminal A is there, terminal C is there. So let us include it, terminal A and terminal C. These two are productive by default. All the terminals are productive by default. Since the C is a productive, the variable C also becomes productive. So include that. Variable B also becomes productive. So include that also. Alright, because it involves this terminal C and the variable C. Variable A also becomes productive. So include that also. Sorry, I'll remove this curly brace. Now you know that terminal A, terminal C, this is variable C, I mean the capital C. Variable B and variable A all are found to be productive. Since all these symbols are found to be productive, my S also becomes productive, isn't it? Okay, now what do? I have written the symbols. Before writing the symbols, I just consider the rules also one by one. C derives C becomes productive because of the terminal C, right? Since this variable C becomes productive, here I am including the production rule CC, which I have done obtained from this step, right? And since the terminal C is productive, the variable B also becomes productive. And by the way, the CC also, because we have already known from this rule. I'm just including the production rules one by one. Now come to the A production rule. This A is productive, C is productive. And this variable C is also productive. Since A contains completely on the right hand side, the productive symbols, the sequence of productive symbols. So include this rule also. Now consider the rule for S. On the right hand side, it contains every productive symbol, isn't it? A is productive, C is productive, this terminal A is productive. So for S, you have to include all the production rules. S derives A, C, A, R, A, R, A, C, A, R, A. In fact, after removing unproductive symbols, there is no change in the grammar. Or I can say we have not found any unproductive symbol here. The grammar remains the same here. Now let us move on to the second step where we have to eliminate the unreachable symbol. So what is unreachable symbol? How to identify? In any grammar, by default, the start symbol is reachable. So S is reachable here. For S, whatever the production rules are defined, just we include it. A, C, A. I will just break down and write the rule here. A, C, A, R, A. From S, just find out which are the variables are reachable. From S, A is reachable and C is reachable. In the sense, I have to include the production rules for A and the production rules for C also. What is the production rule for A? It is given here. C, R, A. For the variable C, it is C, R, C. Now once again analyze. From A, C is reachable, which we have already included. From C, C itself is reachable, so it's already there in the grammar. Now which is the unreachable symbol? B is the unreachable symbol, which we have eliminated from the grammar. So this is the final simplified grammar. Now we have simplified the grammar, isn't it? Now what we are supposed to do, we have to convert the simplified grammar into CNF. That is Chomsky normal form. So after simplification, whatever the grammar we have obtained, I have written here. We are going to convert the grammar into CNF. To do so, first we have to remove the mixed production rules. Remove mixed production rules. What does it mean? On the right hand side, there is a mix of variable and the terminal. Convert everything into variable. That is what we have to do. To do so, first of all, you check which are the rules already in CNF. If the rules are already in CNF, just retain the rules as it is. So I have already said the format of CNF. The format of CNF goes like this. A derives BC. I can have two variables on the right hand side, or I can have a single terminal on the right hand side. Okay. So as per this format, the rules which are all in CNF, A derives C and C derives C are already in CNF. I need to consider only the rest of the rules. So what I'm going to do? S derives, it is mixed here. Terminal and variables are mixed. So I'm going to replace the terminal by a variable. I'm going to introduce a new variable. Let it be Z. At the subscript, I write it as A. Just for me to remember which terminal replaced by what variable. So I have written here ZA, A, C, ZA. Let me go for the second one. Here also replace A by ZA. ZA, A, ZA. Go for the third rule. ZA, C, ZA. Here also AA is there. Just replace it by the variable ZA, ZA. Okay. Now come to the second rule. A derives. Here also on the right hand side it is mixed, terminal and a variable. So I should replace it by a variable. For that I introduce a variable ZC. C. And this C I just retain as it is because it is already in CNF. Move on to the next rule. C derives. Again the C, terminal C is replaced by ZC, C, R, C. Okay. Now we removed all the mixed production rules on the right hand side. While removing, in the process of removing, we introduced two variables, isn't it? One is ZA, another one is ZC. You define what it is. ZA is A, ZC is C. Alright. So the first step is over. Now we continue with the second step. So what is the second step? we should have only two variables on the right hand side. If you look into the first step, you can see only the sequence of variables on the right hand side, or a single terminal, isn't it? So what do we need to do? We have to convert the length of the variable on the right hand side. If it is more than 2, then we have to restrict to 2, restrict the length to 2. So how do we do that? Let me write the step clearly first. Restrict the length of rule on the right hand side to 2. I mean the number 2 I meant. So how do I do that? It's a very simple, but in the same way you have to do. You should not modify as if you can do this. S derives ZA, A C ZA. First I will consider this. So how do I modify this? Very simple. S derives ZA. For the rest of the rule, I introduce a new variable, let it be D naught. So what is D naught now? D naught is ACZA. So D naught derives A first. For the rest of the rule, let me replace it by D1. So what is D1 now? D1 derives CZA. So now you see the single production rule is converted into 3 production rules, and every production rule is of length 2. Right. Now let me move on to this rule now. I will just convert directly. S derives ZA D2. What is D2? D2 derives AZA. Now let me move on to the third production rule. S derives ZA D3. I keep on introducing the new variable. Only my intention here is to restrict the length of the production rule. So what is D3? D3 is ZZA. Right? Okay. Then this rule you have to include as it is, because it is already, its length is 2. ZA is ZA, its already length is 2, it is already in CNF. Now we move on to A derives ZCZ, it is already in CNF. C derives ZCZ is also already in CNF. These rules, all the other rules are in CNF. Now how do I write the final grammar? Final grammar, after converting your context-free grammar into CNF, I just put a tick mark for all the rules what is to be included. All these rules to be included, right? Apart from that, you have to include this rule. S derives ZA ZA, which is already in CNF. Then you have to include all these rules. All these rules put together will become a solution for your problem. I try to cut down the length of the video, but I'm sorry, the length of the video has become more. You slowly practice this problems along with me. This is also the most expected problem for your exam. Thank you, students.